Joe Ducard here, and in this video I want to share with you 5 books that changed my life. Now, I've done a lot of reading, watched a lot of seminars, been to a lot of educational things in my life, but if I had to break it down to 5 books that really were the most impactful to my life, then I'm going to do that for you in this video. And I'm going to tell you what I thought of them, why they were great, and how they can help and impact your life as well. So some of these books I do have here. I have 2 of them here actually with me. Some of them I have on Kindle or I have them in storage actually. But regardless, I'll bring them up for you here. And the first book that wound up changing my life was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding, okay? And the reason why it changed my life is because it was the first time that I saw pictures of classic bodybuilders, okay? Seeing Arnold and Franco and Robbie Robinson and all these guys back in the day, all the way up to the 90s, they had a lot of great bodybuilders in this book. Seeing those physiques got me so inspired to go to the gym, to lift weights, to get a small waist, to get a big chest, big shoulders, big arms, and have really aesthetically pleasing and strong physique. And when I started working out, I gained more strength, and the biggest thing that I gained was so much confidence, okay? So seeing the pictures of these guys, hearing their routines, and the best part about this book is that it has so many exercises in it. It has exercises broken down by every single body part, right? So if you want to get one body part bigger than the other, and you want to have a nice symmetrical physique, which is what bodybuilding is all about, then this book is for you. Highly motivational, super cool book, great to have on a coffee table, and I believe should be a part of every guy's collection. The second book, which was probably, honestly, looking back, the most impactful book of my entire life, was The Game. The Game by Neil Strauss. And really quickly, let me just tell you that a lot of the techniques, I'd say most of the techniques in this book, are very outdated, and I don't recommend guys using them anymore, okay? Using the jealous girlfriend opener, the best friends test, and trying to learn NLP to hypnotize people. I do not recommend that stuff at all. But what this book did for me, and you probably already read this book or you've heard my story or something, so it won't have as much as impact on you if you're watching this video, most likely. But what this book did for me is that it showed that a guy who was nerdy, that was Neil Strauss, could learn how to attract women. I knew that you could get in better shape after reading the Arnold book, right? I knew that you could make more money and get a better job, right? But I had no clue that attraction was a choice. I had no clue that the skill to attract women was just that it was a skill. I thought that women liked you or they didn't. And once I read this book showed that no matter who you are, you can learn how to present yourself. You can learn how to talk to women. You can learn how to attract women. Now, there's a lot of false claims from the guys that were in this book. Guys used to say, I can get every girl I talk to, and this works on every girl. And it does not, okay? You cannot get every single girl. And I actually got called out a lot when I used to run the same routines over and over again back in the day. But you can definitely learn the skills to be more attractive to women, okay? So reading that book was monumental for me. I read it 3 times back in the day. One time I wrote out all the routines, and it was a catalyst and it was a paradigm shift for me more than anything. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend using the routines and all the old school stuff that's in there, but it's very entertaining and it's a great read if you don't believe that attraction is a skill that you could learn. Now, the third book I'd recommend was actually an audio series that I listened to, and it was called Lessons in Mastery by Tony Robbins. And these were several CDs that my father had actually gave to me. And he gave me a whole bunch of other Tony Robbins CDs that I wound up listening to. These were awesome because back in the day, I had a CD player and we listened to these in the car, okay? And one of the first things that Tony talked about in the CD was identity, okay? And identity is how you define yourself, what you think is possible or what you think is not possible for yourself. And what he talked about was that your identity is something that is flexible. It's something that can be changed. Your identity is something also which a way that people refer to you, right? And if you accept other people's opinion of you, you'll stay the same your whole life, right? Someone could say, oh yeah, he's a nerdy guy, or yeah, I know him, he's kind of antisocial, or he's awkward, or he's this, or he's that. And if you accept those things, then you're gonna be that way your whole life, okay? I remember back in the day, I wasn't very spontaneous. I was very stubborn. I didn't like doing that many things. And my family used to make fun of me. And then when I started reading Tony Robbins and getting it to change, I said, you know what? I want to be more spontaneous. I want to do more stuff. I want to experience more things in life. And I set out to change that. So no one can say now that I'm not spontaneous. No one can say that I don't travel and I haven't done and tried new things. I've started my own business. I've lived different places. I've traveled around a lot. I've done a lot, but I had to break that old identity that I had. So think about it for a minute. That's just one lesson, right? Of so many that Tony teaches. I've been to a live Unleash the Power Within event. I watched tons of videos. I've read his books. I've gone through all his audios. Tony Robbins' stuff is really awesome and foundational for improving yourself and make yourself the best that you could be. The fourth book that absolutely changed my life I have right here is called Your Erroneous Zones by Wayne Dyer. And if you've been following me for a bit, I refer to this book very often. And probably the most important thing about this book is it shows you how to live a life true to yourself, okay? Not being as influenced by other people, not worrying so much what other people think, and doing things that are true to your nature and being genuine, authentic to yourself, okay? I can't recommend this book enough. This is so good. I have so many highlights in it. I mean, you could see all in pink and other colors here. I have all these highlights in this book. I actually read it so much, actually, it's broken in half actually by now, but I'm going to reread this book, probably get a new copy of it, and I can't recommend it high enough. I remember in particular one great lesson that I got from this book was that if somebody does something you don't like, the stupidest thing you could do is do the same thing as them to get back at them, right? Because now what you're doing is you're stooping down to their level and doing the thing that you didn't like in the first place. And he gives a great example in the book of how if you're driving and somebody puts their high beams on and they're coming at you. And a lot of times our instincts is to put the high beams on back at them and say, okay, well now I'm gonna put my high beams on and get back at them. It's the stupidest thing in the world. It's so unsafe. We could possibly get in an accident. We're endangering ourselves to now stoop down to their level to do the thing that we dislike in the first place. Just a little thing like that, when he said it, I was like, wow, that's such a reality, right? So if somebody slights you or does something you don't like, rather than trying to get revenge and stoop down to their level, stay true to what you believe is right. If that's love, if that's peace, if that's doing the right thing, stay true to what you think is right and don't stoop down to the activity that you didn't like in the first place. And the last book that I read that definitely changed my life, I've referred to it in other videos, is called How to Be an Imperfectionist, okay? Traditionally, I've always been really hard on myself. A lot of my students are really hard on themselves as well. So I always recommend this book to them. And what this book showed me was to not try to always strive to do things perfectly, because perfection is almost like a protection mechanism, because you say, I'm only going to do it the perfect way or I'm not going to do it at all. And what that does is you wind up doing actually nothing, okay? It's a protection mechanism to keep you in your comfort zone. So doing something any way that you can. A great example of this in my own life was when I first started this YouTube channel, okay? I thought about doing YouTube for probably 5 years before I started this. It's been about 1.5 years for me now at the time of this video, but for those first 5 years, I wanted to have the best camera. I wanted to be great on camera. I wanted to have graphics and the whole thing and the production. I wanted to know how to do it right. I wanted to know how to do the keywords, and I wanted to do it absolutely perfect. But what happened was I didn't do it at all. So what I actually said to myself, because I was reading this book at the time I started this YouTube channel, was I'm going to put out videos imperfectly. And that became my new goal. I'm going to put out a video that's not perfect. And hey, my first videos were with the webcam. The lighting wasn't great. Some videos I have like a weird microphone hanging off my chest or whatever, but I say, you know what? It does not need to be perfect. And I don't care. sometimes if somebody would say, oh, even comment about the microphone. I remember, it doesn't happen much, but once or twice someone made a comment about a microphone or two. I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. My goal was to put it out imperfectly. And by doing it imperfect, I got it out instead of delaying it and possibly never doing it. And that's such a huge thing. So many guys want to have the perfect game plan. They want to be in the best shape. They want to have all this money, have all these things. And what we do is we wind up delaying the life that we actually want to live because we want to have it perfect. Things will never be perfect. Nobody is perfect. So embrace your imperfection and take action now. That's what that book taught me to do. I highly recommend it. So those were the 5 books that had the most impact on me that I could remember. It was a great question that a student asked me as a topic for this video. So if you have any topics or any questions that you would like answer, feel free to comment below. That's how I get a lot of my video ideas. I'd love to record it for you. And when you're ready, I've got the next video lined up for you.